Hey all, Vaughn here with my tip of the week. This week um, we're taking a deep dive into accelerations. So this is a really good topic because accelerations are seen across the course in many, many, many different ways. You can do accelerations. It's I would say a fundamental backbone to both boat handling and boat speed. So no matter what you're doing, you're always using the principles of accelerations, whether it's on the start line, doing shoot ups, reverse tacking, reversing, double tacking, upwind, into the tack, out of the tack, ducking boats, steering through waves, hiking through waves, downwind, you're doing it on the broad reach constantly, you're doing it in upturns. You're doing it in downturns, though it's different. We'll talk about the nuance of that. You're doing it in mark roundings. You're just always doing this. And I'll start by saying that if you can do accelerations really well, like one type of accelerations, let's say on a start line, and you really understand how that feels, you can do everything else in sailing, all the boat handling, all the boat speed stuff at a very high level because there's so much overlap between each of these small skills. And I'm going to start with just breaking down that. What do they have in common? And then we're just going to look at all the different things that have accelerations in them and the nuances that go with each skill, but how there is a ton of overlap and why having one mistake in one area can actually be throughout your entire sailing. So if we can address those things from the fundamental level, the ground floor, then we can affect everything above that. So first of all, accelerations start with heel, typically leeward heel because we use weather helm to initiate a acceleration. So having heel both gives the boat the want to round up, and it also um, will give you potential energy to flatten the boat. Also, accelerations have an increase of weight pressed into the boat. So at some point during your acceleration, you're going to be adding weight or hiking more. That hiking is what is sort of like your trigger. It's the thing that actually increases boat speed. So without adding weight and just having heel, you have potential energy, no kinetic energy. So it's empty movement of the rig. It's flattening based on angle, not on body weight. Body weight is what increases the speed. Um, Accelerations have a change in direction. So there's you're typically going to start on a lower angle where you have more power and you're going to round up to a higher angle, or you're going to use your angle change to power up the rig and then finish on a higher angle, which might be more power. So thinking more downwind stuff. Um, your one thing that's common amongst all of them is that your tiller is to windward at some point. So the tiller being to windward like this is what puts the bow in a position where you can get into more body weight or you can get more leeward heel without initially rounding up. So we have to break accelerations down into two basic parts. One is setting the boat up, getting your kinetic energy chain ready, and the other one is going to be um, the the potential energy chain, and then the other part's going to be the kinetic part, which is adding the body weight and then allowing the boat to change direction. So using the tiller effectively is going to be super important. It's not talked about enough. This is such a huge part of accelerations, is putting the tiller in the right position during that initial phase of setting up the maneuver. Okay. The last part is the sheet. Your sheet will be adjusted to either speed or angle or both. So that usually comes last. After you create speed, you then need to trim to the new angle and speed. So um, yeah, so let's start looking into these things. Let's start watching some of these videos, and we'll go through them pretty quick just to see the commonalities. There's the tiller to windward. Okay, this is a lower angle got a little bit of leeward heel on. The more wind it is, the less leeward heel you need because there's so much potential energy in heavier wind. That's plenty of leeward heel. There's your flatten, and that's up to max speed. So yes, the boat was accelerating the whole time, just due to the fact that there is weight on the deck and the angle is low. The sheet is trimmed to that low angle and speed. And as the boat rounds up, weight comes on, and now we hit our maximum speed and optimal angle. So that's the normal upwind acceleration in heavier wind. Let's look at an acceleration in lighter wind. Oh, this is a mistake, not down enough and enough speed. Yeah. So talk about something that people do commonly is you can get the leeward heel and you can get the body weight, but if if your if your potential energy isn't optimal enough, you're not going to get a great acceleration. So in this case, the boat wasn't on a low enough angle when the sailor went to flatten. So you're too close to head to wind here, means your potential energy is flawed. You don't have um, the power in the rig and the resistance in the centerboard to really, squirt the boat out. So yeah, this is a common mistake, and this can happen across the board. It can happen in ducking. It can happen in upturns. It's very common in upturns. It can happen in shooting upwind. You'll slide sideways. Yeah, and typically you don't get going until the centerboard starts to work. So the side slip creates the power in the centerboard, and then it starts to accelerate. So, was it an acceleration? Yes. Was it effective? No. And small little things like that, like not letting the boat be on an angle where it has enough load, is going to make a big difference. So, um, so same kind of thing here. Another mistake: roll with no speed and tight main sheet. So main sheet's too tight for that initial angle. You can see that how hard it is to flatten the boat, so it makes it really challenging. The boat wants to keep rounding up instead of going straight, and yeah, so just another common mistake. But the tiller went to windward as the sailor sat up, so and the angle was good. So a lot of things were really good here, except that the sheet was too tight during that flatten, made it really hard to flatten it out. And you could see the struggle there as the boat sort of spins out and doesn't get going. So a lot of things have to go right, and this is just the start line acceleration, the basic acceleration. So if you can do this well, you can do all things well. So let's take a look. What's next? Here we've got upwind sailing. So angle to windward, sheet sheet loose, tiller is to windward, sorry. So the bow comes down, the sheet is loose. Add body weight, round up. Tiller to windward, tiller to windward, sheet loose, add body weight, round up. Tiller to windward, sheet loose. We're going to get a good one here. There's add body weight, round up. Every time he's steering like this, there it is. Okay. So he's adding potential energy by bearing off, shooting out, adding body weight, rounding up. Trim the sheet on after. Okay, that's a perfect example of how driving the boat, adding weight, and sheeting complement to create accelerations upwind. So let's watch that last little bit again. Hold the tiller, drop the sheet, there's your potential energy. Add weight, there's your kinetic. Round up, and then you can trim on. Okay, that's your upwind version. We got another start line one here. Sorry, these aren't in a great order at the moment. I opened up a lot of files at the same time. There's you start your little forward movement, which is also an acceleration. We just break that down. So this This is a initiating forward movement on a start line, not necessarily like your start acceleration. So we call this creeping. So there's your leeward heel, there's your add weight, right? There's your leeward heel with tiller to windward. There's your add weight, tiller to leeward, sheet on. Okay, same thing. Boat is now moving forward in a controllable way towards the start line. Tiller to windward, add weight, body weight on, round up. So add body weight, round up, sheet on. Okay, same skill. Here's a double tack, none other than John Emmett. So there's the initial part there's tiller to windward, leeward heel, tiller to windward, leeward heel. Hold on, let's stop it on that frame. That's an important frame. Leeward heel, tillers to windward. That's gaining potential energy, adding weight, rounding up, backwinding. Okay, that's a double tack initiation. We're not going to watch the rest of that one because it's super chopped up. Let's look at something different. Um, let's look at a upturn. Okay, initially, watch the tiller. Tiller comes to windward, body goes to leeward. There's your leeward heel. There's your round boat starts rounding up. So this is the little nuance in downwinds. The boat starts rounding up first, and then you add your body weight. So you're trying to hold leeward heel longer, and that's so that you don't rock the mast twice, or you don't disturb the wind in the rig as you're rounding up, because during the roundup you're gaining power, whereas upwind sailing, the bear off creates power. So in downwind we have to start initially rounding up in order to gain power. So it's both the round up and the heel that's going to create that power. So we can't flatten it right away. We round up, add weight, and then finish rounding up or stay straight. But yeah, okay. Same kind of thing. Downwind. Here's another one. Oops. Add body weight, seat on. Gonna go slow here. Add leeward heel. Didn't hold the tiller up to windward that time, but initiated with leeward heel. He's coming pretty far up. Add body weight once you're on your angle. Sheet on afterwards. Okay. Totally an acceleration. Started with that leeward heel. Let's watch this one. Okay. I know it's subtle, but that tiller, he has it locked to windward there, okay, as he starts his leeward heel. So he doesn't want to start changing yet. This is going to help you power up the rig and keep the boat surging forward straight on the wave while you get your body into position. So it holds his tiller straight initially, then leeward heel, commits to leeward heel, sheeting on. And obviously, because it's an upturn, downwind stuff, we have to wait before adding the body weight. It isn't like the upwind where we want to hit the body weight before rounding up. So that's nuanced, but it is, in essence, the same skill if you can figure that one out. I love this one. It's such an underrated skill, but it encapsulates all things acceleration. Every part of this makes so much sense. This is shot from 2009 or 2010 in Vallarta. Um, so look at look at this initiation of attack. Starts with windward, tiller to windward, leeward heel. There's your acceleration into the tack. Here's your acceleration out of the tack. So that let me go back here. Remember the tillers to windward as you have the leeward heel. I know this is just part of the tack, but it happens to be the exact same. Tillers to windward as you have the leeward heel, tillers to leeward as you flatten. Okay, going in for the shoot. So initially, tillers to windward, hold the leeward heel, flatten, round up. And I just love this skill. I love this skill because you have to have so many things locked in. You have to know your angle to the mark. You have to know how high you think you can sail above close hauled, but not iron. So you have to have a new ley line that's like a pinching close hauled that's not so pinching that your sail's luffing, right? It's a really, really challenging skill. But to accelerate up and around a mark, I promise you, if you practice that, you're going to be better at upturns. You're going to be better at tacking. It is such a cool skill. It's also sort of like the same as a pre-entry for attack, right? Leeward heel, press. If he kept his tiller across the leeward there, that would just be attack, right? But he's stopping it and holding it straight here to get around a windward mark. So up below head to wind and above close hauled. But in a flat water, you can coast for quite some time. Okay, here's another one, same skill. Windward, or sorry, leeward heel while holding the tiller to windward and adding weight, rounding up just above close hauled, just below head to wind. Really fantastic skill. Okay, we're going to watch a leeward mark rounding. Sometimes there's a couple accelerations. That's one. There's your leeward heel, rounding up to get ready for your leeward mark rounding. Okay, leeward heel, flattening, rounding up. That's an acceleration. Okay. If you get the sheet tensions right, you get the heel right, and you get the amount of turn out of it with the extra body weight out of it, um, those are all things that go into the same thing. So, and it will help your start accelerations if you do it well. And if you practice those, your lure mark roundings are going to be better. It's just everything is optimized. This is doing a 720. Okay, bearing away here, adding weight, rounding up. That is the same skill set. Here's a jibe. There's a little upturn. That's the same skill. Tiller to windward, leeward heel, add body weight, leeward heel, add body weight, round up, seat comes on. Okay, same thing. We're getting close to the end here. I got one more jibe here to show. We're looking at the boat here on the left with the red gloves, rounding up first. So leeward heel, round up, sheet on, add body weight, leeward heel, round up, add body weight. Here's me doing here's me doing a perfect I've labeled this Vaughn upturn perfect pre-jibe maneuver. So when you look at a good jibe, what is it? It's a good acceleration followed by a slow bear away. If this was a jibe, oh, it would be beautiful. So leeward heel, add body weight, round up. Slow bear away here would stall the sail and create a jibe just because I went faster because it accelerated onto a wave. So I love these conditions for jibing because you can surge forward on a wave. If you can catch a wave, you can jibe without having to do anything else. There's an acceleration onto the broad reach. That's your upturn acceleration. And we've got one more here. This is your pre-tack. This is our from our tacking online course. Add leeward heel, tiller stays to windward to stay straight. Remember, we want to start adding the body weight on this lower, more powered up angle. So if the boat initially rounds up right away, then you're going to be adding weight on a higher, less powered up angle. So here we go, adding body weight on close hauled, and then you have so much more power to give. You're able to hike. Like that's 150% of normal upwind body position, right? This is normal upwind body position. This is excessive weight. So if you can add extra weight, 150, 200% of what normal body upwind body position is, it means that you had good load in order to sustain that and begin your acceleration. Coming out of the tack, tillers to windward, boats down to leeward. It's on or below close hauled, and then it rounds up to close hauled. Okay. So really there's been nothing super nuanced. I will tell you, The main nuance is going to be sailing by the lee, because by the lee is a type of acceleration, but it's the only one where wind is going from the leech to the luff, not the luff to the leech. So, in a way, everything's just reversed. It's very similar. You begin with heel, potential energy. You finish with weight, pressing to leeward with the sheet out, right? Is going to increase power, which then increases speed by adding weight, pressing to leeward, and that changes the boat up. So it's the only one where we press to leeward. It's the only one where the wind is reversed from leech to luff. Now, a prerequisite for all of this is going to be leeward heel. You have to be able to get leeward heel. You have to be comfortable getting the boat into leeward heel, um, and you have to be in tune with holding the tiller to windward when adding weight to leeward so that your boat doesn't round up as you're putting in leeward heel. That's the main skill. That's the bottom line. If you can get to a point, if you can create potential energy and be comfortable with heeling your boat like this over and over and over again, you can do all of these skills. I promise you, they're all related. They're all very similar. This is just a simple shoot up, but look at all that, amazing control he was able to have there just by get the boat down low enough. It's got to be on a close reach here. Tiller comes to windward and the boat heels to leeward, followed by sitting down, tiller goes to leeward, and then normally if you wanted to continue, your sheet would come on, but he's stopping here. Okay, that's your basis for an acceleration, shoot up, double tack. After you sail backwards, you do the same thing. You put leeward heel, add body weight, round up. Yeah, I know this is all maybe sounding a little repetitive and potentially simple, but that's good. That's where I want you to be in your head. This should be easy. The thought of it should be easy. All I have to do is go out there and work on my accelerations. Don't let the boat round up initially. Get enough leeward heel, add body weight to create speed, trim the sail and round up, all right? Over and over and over again on all points of sail. I promise you your sailing will have huge improvements. All right, this has been hopefully helpful for everyone, and I look forward to any feedback or comments or watching some videos of you guys doing accelerations because this is the main event. This is really sort of what underlies all skills. So, um, yeah, let's chat soon, and good luck in your sailing.